my word, everyone. Thank you for giving me a grace day yesterday with Dolly. It hurt my heart, and we're back. And today I'm doing something a little different. I am doing the daily BS, but today I think all the BS in the room belongs to this couple, the Sussexes. My God, they're back. Whoa. Oh. They flew in on a private jet to Birmingham today, likely Victoria Jackson's jet. You know, she's the one who just loves her some royalty and flies them all over the world and lets them stay in her big houses everywhere. They flew in with the kids, the dogs, into Birmingham, which is about an hour and a half away from Highgrove, where they are said to be staying near. It's in the Cotswolds and, closer than London, I suppose. So there we go. And to talk to me about this is Alison Boshoff, because this girl broke this story. She has great contacts with Harry's friends, and they told her just exactly what's going down. So here we go. Alison, oh my word. First of all, thank you for joining me. I can't get enough of you, ever. It's just too much for me.
Feelings mutual.
And, oh my God, they're back.
I know, and people said, you're delusional, they're never going to come back, Harry never wants to come back. And I said, I can only say what I'm hearing he wants to come back. And there he is.
Well, I think, listen, Harry's always said a lot of things and done the opposite, but I do believe that he was telling his friends for about a year, get me out of here, what am I doing? Now, how is this going to work? We know that they're going to the Cotswolds. I was about to say the Catskills, where I used to have a house, to the Cotswolds. What is going to happen? How is this going to work? Because it is my firm belief, and from what I'm hearing, and you backed it up, is once he's there, Harry does not want to leave. This whole BS about they could be there for a month. They're giving it a 6-month trial. It might be a year. And now today they're saying it could be a year. It could be 6 years. Who knows? What's going on?
So I think, from speaking to Harry's friend, he just said to me, brutally, honestly, I don't think he's ever going to go back. As soon as he's here, when he's done that and achieved that, and he's been nagging his wife for a return for a long time. As soon as he's here and the kids are in school, you've got the whole kid card. You go, we can't disrupt the schooling. They're in fantastic schools. Everyone's so happy. So I think as soon as the kids are, as soon as it's Tuesday next week and school has started, Harry has achieved his objective, because those kids will then be here for the next 15 years and he can be here with them.
Wow. So this is full on permanent for Harry, at least. Now, I love that you use the term nagging, because, Meghan is a California girl. And by California girl, I mean LA Montecito girl. I don't mean like Bakersville. Or even San Diego or Sacramento, where my sister lives. But she is one of those girls who likes to speak in solipsisms and Oprah-isms and all this other isms. She says a lot but doesn't say anything at the same time. How is that going to work in the Cotswolds? Because, I've been there and they don't seem to have a lot of time for that.
Well, it is one of the more sophisticated parts of the country, and we have a lot of American visitors to the Cotswolds, and a lot of Americans who stay there over the summer, or Americans like you sent us Ellen DeGeneres. Thank you so much. We have a lot of Americans who actually, live there, make it their home, and these people fit in and are happy. So it's not that it's impossible at all. However, that is not what I believe is going to happen. And that's not what I think we're looking at here. We're looking at Harry returning and the children being raised in the British culture and in a British school. But I do not believe we are for 1 minute looking at Meghan's return in any substantial way. She will be here. She will settle the kids in. And then, when there is a half term or a school holiday, everyone goes over to California to be with her. And as and when she needs it to run her media empire, her lifestyle business, she's going to be in California. So I really don't think that Meghan is having to make that commitment that she's going to be here too all the time.
Are we talking a separation or a marriage that is on two coasts or, well, three coasts? I mean, I
Well,
can't.
we're talking about, there are a lot of marriages that do successfully operate with travel for work and separations for work in them, and I think that looks to me very much, from speaking to the Harry people, that looks like what's going to happen. They say things like Meghan will come and go. They said to me Meghan has already been going through her diary and noting out the weeks when she's going to need to be in California. So this is and listen, don't let the bankers have it all their own way. These banker dudes, they fly around the world. They do a couple of weeks in Switzerland and a this and a that and the other, and the wife is expected to stay home with the kiddies. Why not?
But
Let's all be a little bit
is she going to
liberated
be
about
able
it. But yeah, she's the only one in that relationship who's capable of turning a buck, and God knows somebody has to. So she is going to go out and work.
Right. When we say she's going out to work, though, you and I have both reported lengthy articles on how nothing is hitting. As ever is not hitting. They just came out with some apple butter thing that looks like something that you might find in a diaper. And I can't imagine a lot, or apple butter jam, I don't know. But it does look mildly interesting. But the thing is, nothing's working. She's not making money. And are her hopes pinned on these projects where she is an Archwell is an executive producer on the movies that were announced but may or may not be in production? How does that work, spending so much time away from the children, and especially when the children are kind of her trump card?
Yeah, well, it is all very interesting, isn't it? Listen, you don't make a business a success by walking away from it. So if a business is struggling, what it actually needs is thought, input, strategic thought, probably the hiring of a new layer of really good people who can help you to shift that inventory that's sitting in a warehouse and, quietly approaching its expiry date. She needs help. So she's not going to make as ever a success by being in the UK. In fact, I would argue she cannot. And in fact, it would be fatal to the brand, because she is the brand. It would be fatal to the brand if suddenly she's, authentically hopping around in tweeds and wellies. No, she's a California girl. It's sold on her Cali girl credentials. She's got to be there wafting around in cream cashmere, sprinkling flowers onto, blameless meringues. Otherwise, the whole thing doesn't work. So it can't work from the UK. So she has to still be a California girl if you're going to sell the California brand.
I get that. But I don't think she can sell the California brand. And when we talk about hiring people to really take control of it, she has a really bad habit of actually hiring good people and them fleeing 3 to 6 months later, and having very good people around her to give her advice, and her, what's the word, not listening. So, and we've all, again, you and I have written many stories about the people who have formed the Sussex Survivors Club in both countries, in the UK and the USA. So it strikes me that not many people really want to be a huge part of this brand. And also, England and America are very different. We don't actually eat that much jam. Nobody really here has scones on a regular basis, and not many people know what the hell clotted cream is. So the products that she has based her stuff on, jam, honey, booze, and flower petals, well, booze maybe, but it's so expensive. It's like $120 with shipping for 3 bottles of fair to middling rosé, which is badonks.
I think what the brand is, and perhaps she didn't understand what it was going to be. It's a sort of novelty item that you give as a gift once to a friend.
Mhm.
Say, oh, how hilarious! Here's the candle, or the jam, or the wine, or whatever, and you'll buy it once, and that will be it. Probably it doesn't matter about its quality. It's like done as a gesture, a novelty, a whatever. And I think that she believed that it was going to be, as she calls it, a pantry staple, and you were going to buy the jam, and then in 4 weeks' time, you're going to come back and buy the jam again. And I think that is the structural miscalculation upon which As Ever is founded.
Mhm.
She may yet be able to turn it around, but I think there is a real problem, which is that people, as you say, there just simply isn't enough demand for jam to justify it. So, and then
No.
with Netflix stuff, as well as I do, Paula, the money comes when it's in production. So you can be in development all you like, but all you're doing in development is you're paying salaries for people to sit around in an office in Los Angeles, working on scripts and whatever else until Netflix say, yes, now here's your production fee. You're paying for all these people, so you're
Yeah.
paying all the salaries. So no, it's not a route to riches. But there we are. What else can she do?
Well, and the other thing is, frankly, as I've written before, so the thing about, and my viewers will know this because I talk about it, the 5-year rule on a company. You can run a company for 5 years at a loss. And they run everything, all their expenses through the company. And they have several companies. She's got a handful of LLCs that she has created for different things. And it's interesting because she's now, what, 2.5 years into As Ever? And she's got 2.5 more years before you can't run your company at a loss anymore.
The question was, is she going to sunset and then maybe start a new brand that's family
Family
focused?
friendly,
But
but how do
that
you do
makes not
that?
sense.
And how do you do that when there's kind of an unspoken agreement they won't use their titles to sell shit while they're in England?
I know, and what I really wonder about is whether that unspoken agreement not to use their titles to sell things can actually hold. Can it survive this new, rather desperate phase where the Californian experiment is dead? It hasn't worked. It hasn't generated enough money, and Harry is unhappy. Um, and then what does it now look like? Because unless the Bank of Dad starts giving them handouts,
Mm.
then maybe phase two is going to be even worse than
Well,
Brexit.
yes, and there's reports now that they're looking for a house in the Cotswolds with a budget of £8 million, which is for Americans, it's around $11.5 million, and they seem to just spend money like water. And they have a huge bill coming up for the legal stuff. It's insane. And why does it have to be so grand?
I hear that what they want is a lot of land, and that costs a lot of money. I mean, the Cotswolds is phenomenally expensive. If they'd parked their tanks on William and Catherine's lawn and relocated to Norfolk, it probably would have been cheaper. It would have been cheaper than going to the Cotswolds. It couldn't be more expensive, short of trying to buy a giant house in London. It couldn't be more expensive. I'm told Harry wants loads of land for security reasons, but also so that he can place, sport in the garden with Archie, etc. I looked at a house that they were supposed to be interested in today, and it's on for 12 million. So it's actually beyond their budget. It is big. And the land is big, but I mean, there's a problem in the UK as well, which Madonna found when she was married to Guy Ritchie, which is we have these pesky things called footpaths
Mm.
everywhere in the side, and any Joe Schmo who wants to take their dog walking can then legally cross your land, sit down on the path, have a picnic, take out their long lens camera, take a picture of you in your bikini in your back garden, whatever. So there's a real problem with big estates because all the big estates pretty much are crisscrossed by footpaths. So
Mm.
there are proper privacy issues. So it's not going to be a straightforward property search for them.
Why wouldn't they do something like King Charles bought a house for Camilla next to Highgrove. Why wouldn't they do something like that and stay in that house? Or, and that's not on royal property, it was paid for privately by Charles. Why couldn't they do something close to Windsor? Or is it, and we know this, we know that Meghan is a huge snob. Like, only the best will do because everything is about appearances. Only Montecito because that's where the best people live, even though it's insanely expensive and they could have gotten a nice place elsewhere on the coast. Why only the Cotswolds? Is it because Soho House is there? Is it because her two friends left in the UK are there? What is going on?
I don't know. I think that for Harry, it's appealing because he grew up in the north part of the Cotswolds, and where I hear they're looking is also exactly that area. So I think that there's something to be said for him, for those pubs, those estates where he grew up. I think they actually do still speak with Mike Tyndall and Zara, so that's Princess Anne's daughter Zara, and they're all on the Gatcombe estate. So I can just see that area being, and that's the field where Harry lost his virginity behind the pub.
Oh, Lord.
I can see it being kind of a sentimental journey. You want your kids to kind of go to those schools, hang out in those pubs,
Wait a
be in
minute.
that same crowd.
Hold on.
Sorry, too much.
A sentimental journey. Archie, Lily, this is where Pa lost his cherry. We've placed a cornerstone there. Rub it for good luck. Or
See page 256 of Spare.
I can't. This is fascinating to me. But also, wasn't Mike Tyndall the one who recently just said, I knew Harry when he was fun?
Yeah, he did. But that's the kind of banter that these guys have. I think that's considered fine. I knew Harry when he was fun. Harry wouldn't mind that at all.
But also, I cannot see Zara putting up with Meghan.
No, it's hard to put those two ladies together and think of anything.
No. And Meghan looking at Zara going, what brings you joy, Zara? Zara going, I'm off to ride a horse, F off. Like,
so asking her how she plates up her children's takeaway, and Zara just going, are you kidding me? Yeah. Well, and I mean, we're joking about it and having a laugh, but actually there is a proper cultural schism that is going to come into play, and which we already saw playing out, in the years 2017 to 20. When did they leave? 2020?
Yeah. 2020. Yeah.
Where they just did, she didn't understand British people didn't quite understand her, and there was misery and miscommunication. So it is very interesting. I was sort of thinking about this as, it's their second chance at a new beginning. After the freedom flight, we have the, back into chokey flight. And, let's hope they don't just louse this one up, because, last time, there was massive goodwill when Harry and Meghan launched themselves in the UK. There was massive goodwill in America when they launched themselves there, and all you Americans were saying, oh, you Brits, you're all so beastly. And we're like, no, you wait. And now they're back here. There's no goodwill. It's all gone. So this, relaunch times 3 is minus public goodwill. So it's going to be even more difficult. And, I wish them luck with it. I think that's all you can do. I genuinely do. Yeah.
Well, it's also so interesting to me because you say, she didn't understand British people and and maybe things changed. I mean, we've all watched her interviews, and the thing about not getting British people is basically saying she don't have a sense of humor. And she can't handle it if somebody pokes fun at something or just gently ribs her. That's like a knife to the heart and you're dead and done. So I'm not sure that that's changed. And I think it's going to make it real difficult because
I think it's, in Frozen, there's a very profound moment which I often reflect on. With those little singing rocks and they go, people don't really change. I actually happen to think that is one of the truest things I've ever seen at the cinema. People don't really change. So here we are. We'll see.
You're citing a Disney movie for Meghan, who so desperately would love to be in a Disney movie and thinks of herself as a Disney princess. That was wonderful, Alison. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Paula.
This is so we know how it's going to work for Harry. All right. We also get how it's going to work for Archie and Lily. The big question is how long will Meghan hold on? And how long will Harry let this go on in a marriage? Because I could see this going on for a couple years, back and forth, back and forth. And by the way, the irony of this is, as you and I are talking about their weirdo beardo life that's about to happen, that would actually make the best reality show or scripted show ever. The
It would be
return.
At Home with Harry and Meghan, or the Private Jet Chronicles. I mean,
Harry and Meghan part two, because she fancy. And that actually, I think everybody might watch that. I know I would. Or if she was
100%.
tired for
What they're
Ladies of
going to have,
London.
they're going to have people counting the days that they're together and counting the days that they go apart, because everyone can see planes coming and going into airports. So, I think they're going to find that quite difficult, because, and this happened as well in the Beckham's marriage when it was in trouble. And, these are two high profile people, and it's actually child's play to say they've seen each other once in 81 days, or, they spent the night under the same roof twice, or whatever it is, because people do start to keep those tallies. So that chatter is going to be quite loud, I suspect, when as they settle in after the initial settling in period. But yeah, so I hear that she's here. So terms are about 10 weeks, school terms. So she'll be here to settle them in. I think we can then expect her to go back to California, and the family will then go to California for Christmas. They'll have a Cali Christmas. So
Really? So they're not going to bother William this year, perhaps next.
no. And I think that is so wise, actually, to not provoke the confrontation first off. I think someone somewhere has had a strategic thought. So good.
I think this entire thing was strategic, which is insane for me because I don't see their team as being very strategic right now. But this was really kind of okay, beep, 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 we're going to do this. And I do love that Harry was the one pushing this through nagging. But it is interesting to me that, she will go back and forth and back and forth. Now, this is something that she, as a child, is familiar with. She was with her mother. Her parents split up. She was with her mother, Doria, and then went to go live with her father, Thomas Markle, during high school. And then it seemed very close. And so this sounds to me like something that she's like, oh, yes, well, I did it as a child. It's fine. And she doesn't quite understand that this is something that most mothers would be like, what is going on? No.
Yeah, I mean, it's all to come. The drama is all yet to be unpacked, Paula, and you and I, as you know, are absolutely here for it 100%.
Oh,
we will see.
Absolutely. Well, we've got one more thing because bringing up Thomas Markle, he has been very quiet, but did give a quote saying, I saw on CNN that they were returning to England. I found out about it the same time as the rest of the world. I'm hurt and upset that she doesn't give a damn about me, even though I'm in hospital. One day those kids will ask about their other grandfather, the one who isn't king, the one that Meghan and Harry are apparently ashamed of. I hope they know how much I wanted to meet them.
Yeah, it's very sad, isn't it? And he is very bitter, and he will not shut up. So it's a real problem for her. But that whole thing has been very badly misplayed.
He actually has been refusing all interviews until this. So when he came back from Philippines, he made it a point, I'm going to shut up. I'm just, maybe if I'm quiet, they will come back. Maybe if I'm quiet, I will get a phone call. And I think he let out one quote. And, I've had my team call him and they're all saying, he's like, no. I think obviously that was a quote. It wasn't him on film. And I think somebody got him at a weak moment when he said that. But he's definitely still holding out hope. And it's still a question mark as to why they haven't met him. Just because he's not a king, just because he's not aristocratic and he embarrassed Meghan, why haven't they met him? And why is this so cold? And why isn't Harry starting to see the signs that perhaps she's done this to several people over and over and over in her life? When you're no longer of use or you embarrass me, you're out.
Yeah, I mean, everyone would be wise to contemplate his fate, because it does, we never know fully both sides of the story, and she obviously felt very betrayed by him. But it is a bad look as it goes on for years and your father is older and sicker, that you can't actually try and find some forgiveness and try and make up. Even just from an expedient publicity point of view, it would just do her good to make one phone call for 5 minutes and then say, "Oh, excuse me, my toast is burning, I really have to go." But just throw the bone, just a tiny one, and get him back on side. It would be the easiest thing, wouldn't it? So she must really hate him.
Yes, but hate him over one thing. They were quite close before. He was going to walk her down the aisle at the wedding. I don't get it. I mean, just from a personal experience, I got mad at my dad years ago, and I was like, well, I'm just going to have a minute, right? But it hurts your heart. That's your dad, right? I don't get it. And I am here for this drama and the days of our Cotswolds lives. Wow.
Yes, a rename. And by the way, Paula, you've got to come over.
Oh,
you've got to come over, and we'll do a little bit of light stalking.
Oh, I'm sorry, girl. I'm coming in September. Light stalking.
Yes, of course.
I'm sending you the dates. And then what we'll do, we will drive up to the Cotswolds where we think they are and do a little video from a walking path, a footpath.
A footpath. I'm going to introduce you to footpaths, Paula. You're going to love them.
I will try to bring appropriate footwear. I love you, Alison. Thank you so much. Now stay backstage. I will be with you in just one moment. All right, you guys, I just love you. Thank you so much. Now, listen, I was upset yesterday, but don't worry, because I had someone to comfort me. No, it wasn't Mark Dolan. It was this guy. My boy. There's literally nothing more that this guy loves when I'm feeling blue, just to come over, sit on me, and get his belly rubbed. I make him feel better. It makes me feel better. I love him so much. He's just like a big, warm, furry, farting pillow, Oh, well, that's my guy. Thanks, you guys. I really, really appreciate you. I'm trying to get all this stuff up while I talk. Now, remember, don't forget, subscribe, hit the hype. And by the way, you guys were right. I had forgotten to put the hype thing on, whatever. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. You've helped me so much with this whole YouTube thing. And I appreciate you and I thank you. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow for the daily dose of BS, where there will be other people rather than just the Sussexes. But I do feel like their last couple days merited their own show. Bye.